two new arguments in defense of the president yesterday, including suggesting that Trump donor turned U.S. Ambassador Gordon Sondland colluded with Democrats.
Oh, dear Lord.
When he changed his testimony to acknowledge a quid pro quo.
Now, here's a question. Why did Sondland change his testimony? Was there a connection between Sondland and Democratic operatives on the committee? Did he talk to Schiff? Did he talk to Schiff staffers? I've been a lawyer for a very long time. When somebody changes their testimony, they suddenly recall something they didn't know before. It makes me incredibly suspicious.
What I can tell you about the Trump policy toward the Ukraine, it was incoherent. It depends on who you talk to. They seem to be incapable of forming a quid pro quo.
So, Willie.
Wow, that second argument.
Willie, let's the second argument.
They're too stupid to have a foreign policy and a quid pro quo.
Yeah, but on the second argument, yeah, Lindsey's once again doing the "they're too stupid to collude" defense that a lot of people on the Hill did during Russia.
Yeah.
And now they're saying this, even though they have all the documentation and, as John Bolton called it, Rudy's drug deal. They had a very specific plan, laid it out. We have all the testimony, the sworn testimony. As to this first argument that, I mean, Lindsey, again, he says he's been a lawyer for a long time. I find it hard to believe that he was paying attention in law class because, of course, he doesn't know the evidence code, which he proved earlier this month. And now he's saying, I've been a lawyer a long time. And when somebody changes their opinion, I become very suspicious. Well, actually, everybody's been saying it publicly. He chose to tell the truth in sworn testimony because he didn't sign up to go to jail. And Lindsey knows that. And I just wonder how low these people are going to go, how much they're going to degrade themselves. We're going to be playing it for a second. What a United States senator said, a childhood taunt towards Nancy Pelosi in a little bit. But you just look at him and you sit and you got, I feel so sorry for them that they're allowing themselves to be degraded by Donald Trump, a guy that won't return a favor, and Lindsey put him in the front of that line here. This is just humiliating for him.
Yeah, it gets worse every day. When you think they've found some wild new excuse to explain the president's behavior, they think of a new one. Gordon Sondland, as Mika said, gave $1 million to President Trump's inaugural committee, a political appointee, the guy who was deputized by this administration to run from his position as ambassador to the EU, having nothing to do with Ukraine, to run this Ukraine shadow operation with Rudy Giuliani. Now he's in bed with the Democrats. It's hard even to keep up with the stories they're making up. I wondered when he came out with his new testimony how the White House was going to try to discredit him. And apparently now this argument, introduced first last night by Lindsey Graham, is that Gordon Sondland colluded with Adam Schiff to come back in and testify and to make up a story. It is sad. It's sad. And there are a lot of people we've had on this show, people whose points of view we respect, who are now saying things to completely degrade themselves. And as you say, for what? For what? As if Donald Trump is ever going to return the favor, as if he's ever going to take care of them. We see what he does to people who cross him. We see what he does to people. I never met him, didn't really know him, can't remember meeting him. That's what happens in the end. You end up like Michael Cohen. You don't end up you know, at the hand of the President of the United States. It's really, really pathetic, and it's sad to watch as an American, not as a partisan question.
It really is. Yeah. And Willie, they're doing this even though it's clear it happened. This quid pro quo and this scandal and potentially, for sure, corruption, but even breaking the law. It happened. They're fighting to try and protect the president from something he did.
And by the way, something they know he did.
They know he did it.
Something that, and so they're lying and they're spinning tall tales. And again, they're degrading themselves in ways that they would not allow their children to degrade themselves.
Right.
If, like, for instance, here's Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana saying something about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at a rally last night.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi is trying to impeach him. be disrespect, but it must suck to be that dumb.
Yeah, he actually does mean disrespect, and he has degraded himself. And by the way, hey, Senator, guess what? No matter what you do the rest of your life, that's your moment when you die. Your bio, 30, 40 years from now, whenever it is, that's your moment. Congratulations. You did it for a man who committed crimes. You did it for a man who may be driven out of office. You did it for a man who actually was willing to sell out the United States of America for some dirt on Joe Biden. You did it for a man who, again, has destroyed the conservative movement. Did it for a man that's run up national debt. Did it for a man that's undercut NATO. Did it for a man who actually does whatever Vladimir Putin wants him to do, whether it's getting a foothold in Russia, getting a foothold in the Middle East, Russia getting a foothold in the Middle East, whether it's getting a foothold in Ukraine, whether it's him running around saying to his aides that Ukraine's not really a real country. Who says that? Oh, wait, Vladimir Putin does. And you just said that about Nancy Pelosi. I guess, I don't know. You know, maybe the part of Louisiana you grew up in is different than part of Northwest Florida I grew up in, but I don't know. In my neck of the woods, Senator, parents don't teach their sons to talk about women or men that way, but maybe you're comfortable with that. Whatever goes. And by the way, on top of that, what Republicans are doing with this whistleblower is staggering. Just a few years ago, they were running around talking about the importance. Mike Pence leading the charge about the importance of protecting whistleblowers. Now they're going to rallies in Kentucky, and Rand Paul, the United States Senator, is screaming that the whistleblower must be real. For what? Why? You know why? Because Donald Trump wants the whistleblower's name revealed. But why? Think about it. What we have learned since the whistleblower complaint is so much more devastating than even what the whistleblower put in that complaint. We know more now. So the whistleblower's identity, actually the whistleblower's charges have now become irrelevant because, as they may say, in Northwest Florida and also in parts of Louisiana, they put meat on those bones. We know what it looks like, and it's worse than what the whistleblower even said it was, which means this is all just about trying to be punitive, just trying to punish a whistleblower, just trying to distract people who they think are too stupid to actually read the news or look at Google. And, you know,
or read the transcript.
That's not a transcript. Jim, you know, what's so fascinating is, and again, embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed for Kennedy. I'm so embarrassed, humiliated for Lindsey, a guy that I came in to Congress with, and I'm so humiliated for him. The thing is, this doesn't work politically. They think this works politically. But those people, they're just screaming at the church choir. I've said it before. Yeah. In 2018, the largest landslide loss in the history of elections for the House of Representatives. Virginia, completely, Republicans wiped out in Virginia in just a couple of years. You have a Democratic governor in Kentucky. I mean, you just go down the line. This isn't working for them, and yet they continue to degrade themselves in a way that make them more loathed in suburbs, more loathed with women. I wonder how Kennedy saying that Nancy sucks and it sucks to be stupid, I wonder how that plays with all women voters. It can't be good, can it, Jim?